Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about a strategy I've been using recently. It's quite simple, I would say. And I'm going to show you right after this kind of a replay of the last day. So we'll see. So it involves using a single candle entry, which is basically like a break of structure. So we kind of have this high. They're marked out with these diamonds. This is kind of a lower time frame break of structure, so it's not as clean to look at. Otherwise, you might be looking at this as your structure, actually, this high. But with the single candle, we kind of uh, dwindle it down here to this one candle instead of this pivot high. So I can explain all that a little bit later or in another video. I'm combining that with the 1 hour open retrace. So basically we're waiting for a sweep of the previous low and taking a long out of there preferably. Or if it's sweeping the high, we'll take a short. So that's basically it in a nutshell. Let's go over some of these trades real quick. So, all right, so this is the start of this morning, or actually the open of the market last night. So I have some of these lines here. The white line is the hours open. We have also the previous hours high and low. I'll kind of mark these out. This light gray one's kind of hard to see, or it's light green. But see how it matches up with the previous hour's high. And then we have this one down here. This kind of dim gray or dim red line. That is the previous hour's low. You can see the times down here, 1500. That was the end of the day. So, start of a new day here. Those lines are important. What I've been trading even more recently is, which will give you less trades a lot of the time, is I will wait for these expansion highs and lows to be taken out. And I like trading from beyond those because at that point, price is extremely extended from historically where it should be, basically. So we're gonna go through some of these here. I already kind of marked out the day. If you think I'm nitpicking here, I'll do it for another day, and I'll do it live. I'll do it tomorrow. So, and it doesn't always work out as great, obviously. Some days are great trading days. I don't like trading the open 9:30, for example, but let's get going here. So already here is the 1800 hour. We are below the extension low here, the expansion low. And let me just draw these out fresh. So basically we're waiting for kind of a candle to close below there, which technically, let me zoom in here a little bit. Oh gosh. Technically, our candle that closed below is this one right here. So that might be the first candle we're looking at. And we do have a couple closes above, which is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some action below the expansion levels or above, and then kind of a pop out. I'm doing this in NinjaTrader, and I'm not the best at its system here. I don't know if I can draw even, so sorry about that. But basically, I'm looking for a little action above here. What at least is the hotkey for that F2? I'm looking for a little action above here. Oh, golly. And then preferably a retrace back into something like that. And at that point, we are kind of already pushing up towards the open. So I would want a retrace back down. I'm trying to take trades pretty much towards the extended boundaries of these areas, like from the very low of this, as you can tell. So this is not necessarily the best zone because we don't play up here enough. So anyway, this is a 30-second chart. So all you have to do is wait 2 minutes or like 3 minutes. And then look, we form more structure. We have this new low of a candle. And not even saying that you would trade this because look, we're not very far extended. We are below the previous hour's low, which is, that's how I started out doing this strategy. But look, we already kind of have some setups here. See how we are extended above it here quite a bit? It's showing some support here. And we can drag this out even. And I'm just going to be showing you some examples. I'm not going to be doing exact setups or back tests or anything like that. I'm just going to be doing this. So I can get a ruler though. So say we even take it at the neckline at any of these points. Once it's getting this far extended, it would be tough taking a trade from here. Because see, look, you really only get a 1-to-1 and then it's a loss anyway. So this one does kind of play out a little bit. I would maybe have gotten in like somewhere on this dip if you're playing the neckline here. And you know, maybe broke even, or it might have just even been a loss. So, but that's the first hour of open of the market. So, that's not the best time to trade in the first place anyway. So let's go on to the next here. There's not setups every hour as well. I just kind of marked some out. So we have this one. Here is the next hour. So we are kind of creeping down here. We already took out this previous hour's low, but I've been liking to wait for the expansions before I take any trades. So we are kind of coming down here. Let's see. We take a close. Here, we get a close below. That's our first candle. But look, there's no action above. We drop right through it. So that is ignored. And then we dip down here, and this is a obvious low candle put in. Within 30 seconds, it dips down here and pushes up. And then we have a bunch of action right here. Dip down into the zone here. And this is a much better return on investment here, it looks like. Well, I guess we come up here a little bit. So you get the 1-to-1 anyway. I can measure out that here. It ends up being 2-1 if you hold. 2 risk reward here. And you know, with these kind of trades, I do really like a 1-to-1 isn't really sufficient. I would recommend trying to go a little bit more beyond that and going for the good setups, trying to get a 2-to-1 or something like that. It's kind of risky though. Sometimes a lot of them will play out quickly, which is good. But anyway, let's move on from that one. Because like I said, that could have even been a loss if you didn't play it right. Look, it comes up, and if you don't take profit or move your stop, you're going to get stopped out. See, it comes back down and just, boom, takes it out. So that's why you got to be careful either way. It's not a free ticket. Let's look at this next hour here. We are dipping below the expansion. And by the way, price is kind of in a huge downtrend here during these hours, and we're looking for longs, which you might not agree with, but these are kind of scalps. I like taking these as scalps, and then on reversals they can be legendary trades if you hold a runner or something like that. So let's look here a little closer since I have this box here. Here we are closing below the expansion levels. Here we kind of put in an obvious low and trade above it with a couple candles. I like spending a couple minutes above this area and then a tap back into it. That in my experience, my honest experience, okay, which isn't much, is spending a couple minutes above here and then going down here and getting a little 3-to-1 trade. I mean, I see them all the time. It's just, you know, obviously, I don't know, guys. But yeah, so see, this doesn't go above, it doesn't float up here quite enough for me to be too interested in that. Here we get another one kind of not floating above at all. Then we get this huge candle. Oh gosh, guys. We get this big candle. Boom. This is kind of the candle low. You can kind of see with something. I'm not going to use this as the example, I guess, but yeah. So this would be more your candle. Since this is such a honker of a candle, you can use this combined with this low here. But then we're waiting a while. That's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, and if that was the case, I might go down to the 5-second or something and get a quick trade. But here we don't have much action above, so red flag. We're going to cancel that out. Moving down to here, here's the low. Here's our low. And this is the width of that candle. You can do a couple candles if it's, similar range. I mean, you can include these. And see, there's not much action here above. So that'd be kind of a risky trade to take. But see, then we pop above, we spend a few minutes above here. And then boom, dip down. And we are in profit basically that entire trade. So, but we are above the current hours open. But the fact is that we were so far extended in the first place, especially for multiple hours in a row. It's likely for some retraces trying to push up and fake out at that point. So long scalps are kind of even more effective, I would say. But anyway, we dip in there and see if you hold on, it's a loss. You'll get stopped out. Let's see. Gosh, sorry. If you held on to this all the way over here, it's a loss. The 2-1 came through almost perfectly. It went straight to this expansion high, which the previous hour's high is way up here. So that's kind of impossible to reach at this point. So that's also why I like using the expansions. Anyway, I will move on here. I'm not really calculating whether these are wins or losses either, guys. We're just kind of moving through. So here I've got a few boxes to, I guess that was just to remind me. Let's look at this here. Okay, so here, like I said, I like playing when there's more action below the expansion. And this is kind of a honker of a candle. It's like there's nothing to really work with there. On the 30-second chart, at least. So now we put in this little low. See, it taps and then pushes up above this candle. Quite a bit of action above here. You would be tempted to take a long here. Oh. And I probably would. If you were, depending on your risk settings, how far below you want to play this. The fact that the action above our single candle entry zone was not below the expansion is questionable. Either way, we could have hopped in at this neckline trying to target this. And you would have gotten it once here, as you can see right here. But otherwise, it would have cut through and stopped you out. So then we put in this low here. Little bit of action above it. And we get a little entry right here maybe. Not quite a 2-to-1, but we're hitting these levels. So you can play off these levels. And you can play off these, when we're putting in, when we're putting in pivot highs and stuff, it's like you can use those to play off, use them as your stop loss and stuff like that. So I guess that's all I'm trying to say. I think there's a while here where we don't get any trades, by the way. We're not just trading all day long. And you shouldn't be anyway. Okay, so here's another one. We're below all the levels. And this is my candle here. We get a good play above that. A big jump above. I like that. And then a tap into it and a blast off. 2 to 1 at least. Yeah. Good trade. And we're finally coming in with some shorts. Okay, so we are above the expansions. And see, it's coming up here a little bit. We're on top of these expansions. So let's see if we find any zones that I already looked at. But you know what I mean. So here, this would be one. But see how we just don't play below it at all. So that's not, it's not viable. And then we bust into this one. This is the candle. This is our new high. And we get some good, a good jump below it. And then boom, tap in and blast out. Tap in, blast out is the new motto. I mean, look at that. 2 to 1. Tap in, blast out. Okay. And then see, we're done for like an hour, 2 hours. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So then we're coming in here, closing above the expansion highs. And then we're trying to look for like swing highs put in. You know, you kind of have to use your brain a little bit and have some opinions trading this way and like find the pivot highs. You see how, I mean, you got to have a little bit of patience as well because see, we have a pivot high here. And these are going to be green, sorry, but we're looking for shorts. We have some action below and a dip back in. You might have taken that. That might have been a loss, you know. But that's only one loss. It should only be one loss. Sometimes it might be two. It just depends how you're playing. But then anyway, we're putting in these candles. I'm not even going to draw them out until we get to the good ones. Here, so then we have action below. Boom, action below. And boom, tap back in. This one is, let's see, 3:40. This is only 40 minutes away. You can still use it like this. Especially this is a tight stop. You can use these zones like this. Often it'll go up into the 50%. Or as you can see here, it doesn't even tap in at all here. Then we rock it down. And there's no trades until, I mean, look at that. You could have, if you were entering, even on this candle, if you entered here, that's a 2 to 1, and you don't even really get stopped out unless technically our target is our previous hours open. But I've been kind of playing that loosely. So yeah, see, if you hold the runner on that, look, how many points is that? And I'm going to be unrealistic taking it from entry to bottom. That is 100 points. I mean, yeah. So let's go here. We're getting to the end of it, guys. Sorry. Okay, so we're below expansions here. Here's kind of our first candle. No action above, and we break below. So let's move on. Sorry I keep doing this. It's too hard. I guess I'll just start doing line, maybe. Okay, so here's our candle top. Boom, we cut into this zone. Yeah, that's the new way I'm going to do it. So, yep, some play above this candle. And then, boom, tap back into it. We blast off. Let's take the risk reward here to this low. This low, the candle low. Not this one, but they are the same because it's actually the previous hour. 2 to 1, and it goes to open. Goes to our target. So that's nice. Here, we're below the expansion, but not below the previous low. So that is questionable. I kind of like the expansion being further. I mean, but it just depends. I don't know. I haven't tested it like, I mean, for too long. So, okay. So these candles look pretty small here. You might be tempted to do something like this, and you can. You can use a few candles, but at that point, you're kind of going to the higher time frame. So you have to think of it like that. But I'm going to kind of keep it simple here and kind of do this. See us tapping into this 50% zone, and then... but I've been playing the neckline. You can play the 50% of these candles. See how we're tapping in here? We have kind of a pretty tight stop, and we get the good risk reward trade there. And you could have even gotten a few scalps out of it. So that was a trade for the hour. So I wouldn't even necessarily be looking here. Even though we're below the expansion. I mean, maybe if you have a long bias, maybe, but. Here, I did highlight this, for example, though, because we are opening a new hour here, and we have taken out all the previous hours' lows. Basically, the last 3 hours of levels, we've taken them out. So, you might be expecting it to rocket short, but I might be looking for a quick scalp here. And the way I would do that is using this zone. And it looks like it's a loss. So see how we have some play above here, and boom, breaks into it, boom, breaks down. That, like I said, that I set up maybe not as ideal because we have just opened a new hour, and it is approaching, it's 9 a.m. So that's another thing here. That's another thing. See how we start getting these choppy setups. We're below the expansions, but so we're putting in these lows, not really breaking above until here. You might have a trade, but look, it cuts right through. And I looked at the 5-second time frame on this. It cuts through within like seconds. So I mean, this was you might have gotten an entry here if you had an order set up, but it sliced right through. So there's really nothing there. We have this where we kind of have a little play above. That might be another loss. I don't like trading 930. This is, I think, yeah. I don't know what my time's kind of messed up. So that's got to be 930 because yeah, that's 930 New York open. So then we cut over here. We kind of run out of trades. Looks like we have a little bit of something here. We're below the previous low and expansion. So let's see if we can put in any lows here. We kind of have one here with a couple candles above, but then we put in this little low. There's no wick on that, so I might bring it up a little bit. And maybe you are risky and have a long bias and take the little dip here. Personally, I would have waited a little bit longer and probably missed this trade. I probably would have missed out on that one, but that's fine. We're getting to the end of the day here. I haven't looked at these yet. So we come up here. We're above all the levels. Put in a high. We have this. You might even drag this a little bit larger, but that's not bad. That's probably about 10, 15 points. So that's not bad. So that's a kind of a loss there if you were to enter here. That's a loss. But then we get another high put in here. And this is kind of larger scale. But this is just kind of what I'm seeing. So we have this candle structure here. We break below a good amount of play. We already at this point have busted down to the open. So you could have, gotten a trade in here, specifically if you're trading break of structure breaks. But I'm doing candle and single candle really right now, which is a little finer in scale, smaller. So yep, see, we cut above here. Boom, trade out of the zone. Boom, trade out of the zone. These are multiple trades here for 2 risk reward. I mean, you know, and then almost a third one. Yeah, a third one. I mean, look at that. That's a crazy zone. And that's kind of crazy trading, but it just kind of shows the power of some of these levels. And I would be distracted by that. I mean, I'm distracted by that right now, but you could be looking for longs here. Maybe I should do that. This has gone on long enough, sorry. Say you're looking for longs here, but we're not really below any of the levels. Any of this. See, we were looking for shorts because of this previous hour. But sometimes you switch bias. It just kind of, you know, ask me some questions. I don't know. Here you might be using that as some sort of long candle. But like I said, it's kind of tainted since we were looking for shorts here. Moving on here, we're approaching the last hour, so we have this with a little bit of play. That could be a loss there, but we're not below the expansion. Here we dip below the expansion, but we get really no play back into this. Into there. So yeah, up here, let's see, a couple more examples because I'm going to do the whole day. We're above the expansions. We put in this swing high. As you can see, we don't really dip back into it, and maybe you want to save that for later. I wonder if that's where we're going right now. So yep, as you can see, I was kind of setting up this zone. I missed this trade earlier, or it didn't come to fruition. Ooh, it almost got me while I was making this video. It cut into this break of structure. Into this break of structure here, extended to here. But I wasn't trading that, and we're not below any of my levels. So hope you enjoyed that. Hope you get something out of that. See ya.